A very warm welcome to KritzKast 2024 winter season. We've got 4 teams already confirmed for the Premiership. I'm Dave, I'm joined by Wiethoofd on the camera, and it's Domaytoe alongside me casting tonight. How are you doing?
Good evening, Myriads. I'm doing wonderful. Blue squad right now comprised of Moro, and the Reds already losing their sniper early on will be double clutch, and therefore the Red Demoman is trying to compensate for that by walking aggressive. He gets consequential damage in, but Wata is healing his players who are playing close to him right now.
Yeah, certainly the Soldier. I think Black went in quite deep, but didn't quite get anything down, importantly, onto Luca. And Luca's able to just plow himself across the point, put a lot of stickies down that Alex is going to have to walk away from, but eventually does get sniped, does get taken out. It's probably going to be the mid-fight over. It's going to be a first mid-fight for Moro, and they look decently set, although Ubers will be even.
Buck does survive that mild onslaught, I should say, since it was a very clear path of play that we witnessed there. Early sniper advantage for Moro, and therefore to hide the aggression a little bit that was tried upon them by ALX. After that he gets headshot, but Buck survives, so we have a full Uber exchange lining up on the horizon right now. Though Fusky is already claiming his dominion on this map as he takes the head out of ALX, so it will be very difficult to use this Uber successfully into them.
Yeah, Alex really hasn't got going so far. Now a bit of an opportunity for the red sniper. He's fake nicking for me at the moment. But yeah, he's looking to get forward. There is aggression across the point. Jenny does get so deep that the Uber is nicely forced out. It's traded back, but I just see Double Clutch have a nice longer Uber here. They're going to be able to get quite aggressive on the point. And again, this sniper, I think it's lit, is starting to pop off a 5th headshot now, taking out Yawn, and you can see Moro just going to have to regroup a little bit.
He wants to make his name known, and contradictory to that, he's using a fake nick, but he's still getting the frags, and he's trying to have his actions speak for him as Loopy right now onto the medic there, onto Wata, survives by the help of his or her own team and staying on this dispenser. Luca is right now getting beamed, and they're trying to walk forward because this point is basically without any resistance by Moro just being given up, and Buck tries to salvage his remaining players. Both medics still equal amount of Uber, but Fusky definitely having the edge so far, and well, he's influencing the game quite heavily.
Yeah, another shot onto Alex. Doesn't take him out this time, doesn't quite hit the headshot, but it does pin him back. Gonna have to force him back onto the beam, back getting arrowed up. And Fusky just has a lot of space, able to play from this boxes area. Now he's got back up on the rock, but still just popping shot after shot after shot, headshots ringing out every which way, and it's really stopping Double Clutch getting any aggression going.
They're trying forward. ALX is trying to fight this from the right side of the point, but gets peppered a little bit. They have to use very early to respect the sniper sideline, and the troika of Luca, Cannon and Wata are counteracting this aggression. Nepal really lit into the air, thrown right there. You're going to get a stab onto a Lit, who is falling subsequently down, and Fusky though dies to a mini sentry out of all things, and they're trying to re-aggress on this point right now.
Yeah, Black is looking to find some space through the connector. Does provide some for his team. They're able to get some cap time down, but still haven't quite finished that cap off, and Jerkus is just standing on top of it, just revolvering. As we know, he's so dangerous, just going to hit every shot. He's going to maybe find a frag onto Resaf here, trying to just utilise those Fists of Steel to survive a little bit longer. Eventually does get sniped, but Jenny is able to at least trigger that dead ring with Jerkus, who will amazingly escape once more.
Mong was so far in, by the way. I come to this thought a bit later, as the red soldier bombs in Wata. So weak in the consequences of that play, and DD alongside with Derpy Hooves is going to walk onto that point and cap it quite so easily. Buck is reaching his right now, and what happened beforehand was Mong bombed so deep, which forced the remaining players of of Double Clutch having to walk back onto the spawn, and therefore Buck had a 30% disadvantage, but didn't really matter in the end, as Mong right now does a skip jump onto the enemy's China, and Loopy going to get that stab onto Fusky. So right now, a little bit of better positioning, I feel like, if Buck didn't get stabbed.
Yeah, also Mong taking out Lit does make it very, very difficult. They're just going to stand on the point. There's not enough resistance at the moment from Double Clutch. Honestly, throughout the whole of that round, there wasn't really too many decisive fights at all. But Moro were just happy to have control of the pace, have control of the point, and, you know, 2 minutes tick down without very, very much fighting happening whatsoever.
ALX was particularly down the entire game, or in the entire first round, which was the catalyst of what we saw right there. It's really difficult to take comprehensive fights in that manner, and Mong is on to China once again. Cannon already patrolling the battlefield. Mong is walking in right now. Buck doesn't really take all that much damage. Recep getting stabbed, however, and Luca Enderman getting the better out of ALX this time around. We want to call out other players, but the demo man is such a crucial part of this product map. In Highlander in general, you have a lot of classes to shoot at, a lot of damage to put out, and there's another player that wants to rival the damage of the demo man. It is Fusky, and he's once again controlling this rock hill position.
Yeah, Lupe at the moment is really struggling to get into the game's bottom of the scoreboard, pretty much tied with Recef, and yeah, at the moment can't get anything into Funsky at all, and Funsky just has free reign to hit aim any which way he wants to. At the moment, it's really only Lit is able to put too much pressure on him whatsoever, but so far that hasn't, you know, it's been probably even-ish in the sniper duels, but every time, you know, Funsky's been alive, it's been Moro in control.
Right now, Moro are pretty happy to sit back and play defensive, and therefore have a little bit of a longer U-boat, but they probably won't push forward with this, which creates an opportunity right now for Double Clutch to maybe clutch this point out, but never mind, there were some players in from behind, and therefore Luca could get a lot of damage onto the enemy team, while he gets stabbed though by Lupo, but Mong is once again in, flying through the air, picks up Buck, therefore any cap time, which doesn't even have the personnel for it to get down, will not all match be all that successful. Wata also getting gunned away, still surviving, however, and all these chaos fights are really just helping the team that has the point right now. But again, Wata is staying alive and Buck is not, which is also witnessing for the first 1.5 round.
Yeah, Black and Jenny did commit there, but it was just slightly out of sync, and Wata was able, despite being quite low, was able to just hide in that dispenser, use that dispenser armor, and keep herself alive. I don't think she's gone down at all so far in this game, and you know, when you got that medic constantly pumping out heals to such a powerful demo like Luca, it's very, very nice. And yeah, really at the moment, just struggling for Double Clutch to do anything. Now when Uber is coming out, it is a bit of an advantage, but not too much has been found with it. Does get forced out just from that snipe from Lit, winning that SPS, so it makes sense to go and use that Uber, but not too much found, and Buck is now going to have an advantage, probably for the first time.
Mong is already in from behind, so they have to watch out for him, and Buck gets piped there in main. Let's see if the follow-up comes in, and he does succumb there to his fatal death in the main area. Mong and Cannon also alongside Yerkas controlling around the enemy cliff, and we didn't really have time to get into predictions, but what we're already seeing here is the flank classes in the post fights and the combo in the main fights, and the snipers on the enemy team when push are so dominant, it's making it really difficult to even get any cap time, because they have still 3 minutes on the clock on their side.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Moro. Double Clutch thought they had a decent opportunity. Now a bot though is coming in against from Black. Again, damage mostly to the dispenser. Wata is going to play herself nice and safe in there. Which damage Recep looking to get across the point, but just kind of walks into the face of so many players shooting at her now. And a fairly unnecessary Uber is going to come out of Moro and seal up what was actually a perfect round for them.
Just padding the stats there, Mong also collecting Buck onto 90 HP, or onto 90% rather, in the end. Fusky top fragging this round. Let's open a scoreboard a little bit, and it is Fusky on 30 points behind his medic. Demoman a bit low there, Luca, but obviously sometimes a lot of damage doesn't always well result in high points, therefore it's really difficult to judge that. But in the same storyline, what in my mind needs to change here a little bit is that Double Clutch have to take more fights, more Uber fights. They just need to be aggressive. It's usually what you do to compensate for the enemy team being pretty DM-centric and out-DMing you.
Yeah, we've never really seen all 9 players get across the point for double clutch. Again, this time Jenny and Black have gone in deep. They've made for plays. They've got a bit of damage down, but not really followed up by their combo. Their combo is really struggling to get too much position, get fully across the point, and it's meant that Moro once more, you can see how comfortable they are. Waters just very rarely having to move from that dispenser. The spam really hasn't been in. They haven't really been able to spam her out of that position, and with her just pumping heals onto Luca, onto Yorn, onto Cannon as well, it's been absolutely impossible to dislodge so far for double clutch.
We'll see another Uber exchange coming up soon. On the way there goes the red soldier, which is Black, who is occupying the enemy cliff. No Uber has been popped so far, but it is ticking in the advantage of Moro all this time, because you want to take these Uber exchanges right here. Mong is going to bump in, gets ultimately reflected away by Nepal, but it means that they're delaying them for 20 more seconds. Sure, they do lose some players, but as long as double clutch loses more players and it delays the enemy team's Uber charge and possibilities of even walking forward here, you see this ALX is alone with Bug forward. This will never be a successful Uber push.
No, it's going to be a much longer and later Uber coming out for Moro, looking to get across. They're just going to pin Alex. He does magically get himself out of there, serves perfectly round up to his cliff, but again, it's another 30 seconds where he's not in the fight. They're not getting aggression, they're not getting damage down, and Luca is reigning supreme with the spam at long range.
The problem also is that double clutch always have to rely on a triple clutch, which is have the enemy sniper down. If he's not down, then you probably have to use early and need to control Monk. Bug is in alone, gets saved right there though by Wiethoofd, but Fusky is on the rain once again. 6k for him, kills a lit on the opposing side, and Bug has to peek. He has to peek out of this. He's not ultimately going to get out. Black is in behind and gets a little air shot there onto Water, even some salvaging plays, but only about 1 minute to go once again for Moro, not even giving the point up in the last 2 rounds.
Already 7 kills on this round for Funsky. He's even able to take out the mini sentry, doing everything for his team at the moment, completely unperturbed. Just sat nicely. You can see Lupe's now onto him, does get the sub onto Funsky. That's going to open things up, but we'll see if Double Clutch can finally get some aggression going.
They kept, but they should support their scout there. I feel like, I mean, Jenny was onto the point to scout out, which his namesake does provide, and right there though, Yorkas tries to get something onto ALX, gets spotted, and his bicycle is going to melt away right now. It is equal percentage mix, no medic has, but they're allowing Cannon all this free reign right here, and he's going to bombard on it easily. Nepal also going to lose his head, therefore easy recap for Moro.
Yeah. See, you haven't even really had to commit many of their players forward, having to go across, and again Luca just wins out, taking Alex and Jenny, 2 of the most important classes in Highlander, particularly on a Koth map like this. They're out of the equation. Luca's able to finish off Resup as well with the help of Cannon, and at the moment it's just all going Moro's way. Just 20 seconds left. Buck is coming up close to Uber, but they're going to need some kind of miracle push here.
It's difficult to point out the singular king point that we're facing, or rather that Double Clutch is facing right now. If both soldiers do a similar bomb onto the opposing team's cliffs, and Buck uses right now a bit in a solitary position right now. Jenny is going to link up with him alongside Nepal, but they already lost so many players before the fight, and Reset guns Cannon in the air, which is quite the crucial frag, and we want to win right there. Destron is 7k however, and 5k onto the Demo Man, so the combo pluses of Moro putting in the work. Nepal also falling down to yawn, not going to fall sleepy but into eternal slumber, it seems, as that might be curtains in a second.
They're keeping the fight alive here. They will probably cap this out here, Double Clutch, but they're going to need some kind of god hold. Resup looking to go forward, is able to gun down Blair and get himself out of there with only 20 health, although not, he is taken out. A body shot from Funsky is now going to look for more openings, and I assume, yeah, with Lit going down, that's going to really open things up for Moro to get aggressive here.
Loopy is coming in, he's killing the moment, and he's even gunning down Wata. Definitely gives his team a lifeline right there. They have to use this Uber to block the point. It was only Cannon, really. If they had the intel, they might have even been able to preserve that Uber. Also overcommitting players there onto the connector. They pipe down Destron, but in the result lose ALX, and that signals to Moro, we need to walk forward here, and we can easily do this because the enemy team's demo is down right now. Mong also only preserving his life there, jumped lit onto that little cliff area. Loopy not able to get onto that, into the remaining Moro players were enough to seal out the very first map of our potential best of 3, but it is looking right now maybe not going all the 3 maps. We'll have to see just a dominant map here for Moro, honestly.
Yeah, it really was a sniper playground. Both the snipers popping off on that first map for their teams.
Which should give Double Clutch maybe some sort of solace. Having a peek onto the medic stats right here, pretty high healing stats for Wata, but she was protected quite well, stayed in dispenser. Also, as you pointed out, some singular suicide waves from the Double Clutch were separated by 1 or 2 seconds, which made it relatively easy to fight off the aggression, relative as in opposed to for Buck staying alive when he got bombed and when he got jumped, and Mong always landed. As I get to this thought a bit, as we are right now getting into the second map of our very first round into the preseason Premiership qualifiers. Moro are 1 map up and only 1 map away from going into the upper bracket. Well, possibility of instantly getting into Prem, and they even won the opposing team's map pick and therefore were onto their own familiar grounds that they have picked, and no team, or rather no player, has died yet. Yarn went very weak, but Destron is the first one succumbing to Black's rockets.
Yeah, both heavies were traded out pretty early on. Decent little stab from Lupe taking out Funsky, so no sniper, but as we say, not quite as impactful, but it's going to allow here Double Clutch. They're just gonna edge the cap, stand on the corner, get it about 90% cap, but decent block from Moro, but not for too much longer. Mong is in behind, but the first cap does go in Double Clutch's way.
And Mong comes in right now, and he gets the rocket onto Buck. Buck, however, stays alive. Yokas was still in behind, gets counter-espionaged right there with a butter knife to the face by Loopy, and Yokas also lurked in the backlines, but they were not able to get anything onto the Double Clutch combo, and therefore they can easily walk to that point, which we didn't really see on the previous map. Unfortunately, it's the same issue right here. They just lose players in this transitional area, which inhibits them from capping the point any further.
Yeah, I was going to say good game management. They really kind of absorbed that aggression well. Did have to give the cap for it, but now we're going to see it's going to be a slightly longer Uber for Double Clutch here. Be nice if they could cap. In the meantime, Nepo is going to do his best to make sure that happens. But again, there's aggression on the flank from Moro. They get some damage down. You can see Reset cleaned up. There's no lit in the fight either. Cannon is dueling with Jenny across the point, but again, the cap just quickly goes back in Moro's favor.
Well, it's also curious to see Double Clutch were a bit off taken by their own unaccustomed and maybe unfound propensity of even walking to the point, but then they realized, okay, we can walk back again because we lost players. That's familiar for us, as they're trying to nudge that cap right now. It's like 3/4 capped, or like someone could be able to walk onto that point right now. Cannon is only controlling onto it from the right side, but I think they're waiting for their Uber. They have to be aware though that Wata has the Uber advantage.
Yeah, it is a decent Uber advantage they could potentially work with, and snipe onto ALX is going to mean that aggression is pretty much out of the equation. Funsky gets in the pole as well, so that is that combo just getting crunched by the sniper, and Cannon runs in. The tail end of that Uber is able to take Buck out with 97% Uber. A tragic death room to go down, and the rest of the Double Clutch boys are crumbling as well.
Pretty brutal. I don't know who's the onto Double Clutch. Maybe I should have had the eyes onto that big Uber disadvantage, but they again lost a ton of players around or surrounding Buck. No one really walked him out, and therefore he mainly got rushed by Cannon, and it was quite easy for him to gun him out because there was no Buck was even going to stay alive, and even if he did get the Uber, it would have not even been that successful. Right now trying his suicide wave is the demo man and the soldier in EI trying to gun some shots. I didn't see a singular damage digit going onto Wata.
Yeah, good synergy from that soldier and Endeavor, but no one else across. Mong is able to jump in, take out Lit, and get himself back onto the health pack, and probably will swivel out onto that flank as well, keep himself alive once more. Impressive stuff from Moro. How they just really have good control of how to get aggressive, how to get the easy frags, and preserve their lives at the same time.
DC are so tethered to this left side, seen from their own perspective, to this cliff side, and maybe try to shoot some trouble, try to get inventive. I don't know how much they work onto this little flank side, but they're trying to once again nut it. Wata does have Uber on this side of the map right now though. Bug also has Uber and he's trying to save Recep as gets it popped onto him, and they even gun strong their Recep being the key playmate that find as he guns down more members, but Cannon is still in from behind and Recep falls down because he doesn't have any support. Cannon was shooting the way and somehow that ends up into Moro's favor, and they also take the first round into this second map. They were able to walk away, not lose any more players even though they lost players initially, and gun the reinforcements from Double Clutch away.
Yeah, Double Clutch once more similar to that first map, really struggling to get any aggression going. It just seems that more and more are playing at a different pace and they're playing with a higher level of coordination at the moment. It's really difficult because we're seeing phases of 1 minute, 1 minute 30 where they're not even really managing to get a push going, whether they're just losing too many players here or there. But we're on to another mid-fight. We're going to see Black take out Mong, maybe look to get some aggression going. Nice snipe onto Cannon as well from Lit, so a couple of frags in Double Clutch's favour, and now surely they can apply themselves, put themselves across the point.
It's only Ryoski who shut them down in that last 5 seconds. He gets a flare to the face, however, and ultimately succumbs to the respawn queue. Wata did survive in all of that, and Mong is once again trying to leap forward, and we see this patented house holding on the far right flank, which, well, is the first time we actually see a team holding there, because beforehand Double Clutch always were down. Look, trying to sneak them out, and they don't even have this Uber advantage, but they want to get this Uber fight going. Blair falls down, Mong wins that soldier vs soldier trade in the rather 1v1 in that side flank, and therefore once again Moro end up with a big advantage.
Yeah, Moro weren't worried about that flank hold whatsoever. They just put themselves on the point. They just flashed the Uber onto the players they need. They were happy with that trade. They knew they would have point position at the end of it. Were able to cap it out, and now, yeah, even Uber situations. So we're gonna have to see Double Clutch really up the pace here. Really look to get aggressive. Again, they're looking to apply some pressure across this flank area. Jenny and Recep looking to go quite deep. This could double stab actually from Lupe out onto both Funsky and Luca. So those are important classes that aren't going to be in this next fight. It's allowing Alex to walk forward and put sticky after sticky towards that dispenser. Picks up Blair with the pipe. See, Das one just pins it back a little bit, so they do lose that demo. They cap it out, but it looks like Moro just have more players around the beam to walk forward with.
It's crazy that Destron survives for such a long time. Nobody sub ALX in that fight, or if the damage was called, no follow-up was created. And in the contrary also, Mong jumps Lit right now and does get out, but gets a sniper advantage. In the contrary, whenever sort of Double Clutch were put in a situation in a post-fight, then Moro was right there and they only had one player disadvantage. They still stayed in and fought, which is not what Moro tried. Right now, I feel like it's a bit of a derpy fight. No team is really getting any progress out of this. Maybe Moro wanted to get a bit more aggressive, but they right now getting pinned onto their own side, and it forces Recep, or rather it enables Recep to walk forward. Mong once again in behind, kills Lit, and what looked so promising for Double Clutch doesn't work.
Yeah, this Mong flank is gonna be annoying for Lit. He's just continuing, he's still in behind, just going after pack, onto pack, just eating up his health packs. He's able to find Buck as well, who is looking to escape, but there was a soldier waiting to backstab him. Finds 2 nice rockets onto Buck in that entranceway, and it's going to be Moro back with a roaring Uber advantage here.
It's even making it heartbreaking me to say that Double Clutch is only reaping the consequences that they sowed with the causes, because they're being put into this tough situation. They try some different rounds, but all of it is all for not really, as Buck is once again getting chased out and loses his life in the main area. He got flanked from both sides, and again, outgunned a little bit as aptly Cannon there falls down to the ground. There is some pressure right now, though, onto Wata. She stays alive on such low HP, going underneath the 20 HP mark, and there was also Jenny in, but ultimately was not able to hit the shots. Mong is still flying in from behind, picks out DD. He's constantly giving them this player advantage. ALX tries to walk forward. And the real storyline of this game is that double clutch kept time, or they kept like at least 2/3 down, but they never kept it. Finally they do.
Yeah, they do eventually get it down, but already moro have it half cap. They already have the frag onto reset. They still have a bit of an uber advantage to work with as well if they want. Although Jenny is looking to put things a little bit more in double clutch's favour, is looking to block the point at least. Alex standing on top of it. This time Knuckles a little bit closer to him. They're able to prevent a bit of damage, but Jerkers comes in with a nice little stab onto Lit, and now the pressure is going to start
Loopy,
ticking.
responds in kind, takes down Wata. What I can really say is that Loopy is turning up and keeping his team definitely in the game a lot. Reset, however, does get piped, and therefore they lose a lot of players. Buck even gets forced so far back.
Yeah, not an ideal scenario as well. Is stuck basically in the house. Nothing really doing with that Uber, but now they're going to have to use this play advantage to get on top of the point. But again, you can just see so many stickies and pipes coming out of Luca. They're really struggling to focus fire down onto him, really struggling to pressure him back. They do get the cap here, double clutch, but gonna have to hold on to it for a full minute here.
I still want to say, I think this is the closest that they've got so far to winning a round since they are below this 1 minute mark. However, losing Wiethoofd to Fusky will not help matters and will not help winning this fight. However, Yokas falls in the backlines to Black, and Nepal is still flaring about on the point. Luby trying to salvage it because they have to get the cap time onto that point, but it is not enough. 2-0 already go the way of moro. And in the meantime, as they pulled out the great plays out of the head, they can also reminisce on what configs to use, I suppose. But they're on the way to the Premiership division. Maybe the final round, or rather, the final round in maybe our final map of tonight already concludes, or well, starts rather, as only one round away is moro from this elusive win, and it's even more elusive for double clutch right now. Mong is already in from behind, and this was their formula for success. High bomb from him. Wiethoofd falling early to Destron, and Buck falls down once again. Mong is in behind, and he's not going down.
Yeah, Lit did such a good job of just evading Mong's jump as he landed straight into his head, but unfortunately the second target was an even juicier one for Mong. He's able to take out Buck, he's able to take out the medic, he's able to remove the heals, remove the Uber from this next fight, and now Wata has an 80% Uber advantage. Moro have control of the point in there, getting cheeky onto their opponent's cliff.
If you're not sure if there's a bit onto Proot, you can see that they're trying it, or to establish it rather, on the side of Moro. Trying to get onto this cliff forward, and Wata has 60% advantage over Buck. Buck just creeping up onto this 50%, and therefore I wanted to say they have to use with a suicide wave. Mong is trying to make the suicide wave, even though they don't even have this uber disadvantage. However, also Lit fell down to a sniper with a sniper duel onto Fusky, and all the players are falling down once again. It's inhibiting any suicide wave, it's inhibiting any progress that could have been handed to them, and they're playing the majority of this game onto their own half.
Yeah, it's strange. You'd expect that scenario to see 5 players go down for double clutch, but you'd expect them to at least get some aggression, at least get some pressure onto Wata. But now at least they have Uber, they're going to be able to trade it out, but they're playing from a slightly awkward low ground. You can see Yorn looking to get aggressive, pin some players back. Mong is in. Now he's looking to find something. He does find Alex, the demo man, which is one of the main targets he would have wanted. Mong is just having so much impact on this map. It's really shutting double clutch down.
And what they would have needed to think, maybe 2 rounds further on, or maybe earlier, shut down this flying soldier. Play with your scout a bit, try to walk forward while there are 2 players essentially behind you and trying to gun you away, and therefore try to use this this play advantage rather. Wata doesn't even have the Uber right now, and Buck has equalized things greatly. Mong is already flying in the background. It's a constant factor, and he claims Lit this far again into the map, and Buck is also weak, making it difficult in the back, so also difficult in the front. Mong also picks up Buck. It's a soldier game right now. They even popped the Uber for good measure. It was not needed, but they can afford it because they have all that they could ever hope.
Yeah, again, it's everything is pretty much in Moromo's favour. Again, they have a player advantage. So I mean, neither team has too much of an Uber percentage whatsoever at the moment. Buck is struggling to build a little bit, so it's going to be a small advantage for Water. But at the moment, they're at least able to get some pressure down onto this forward hold, which can be quite difficult for uncoordinated teams. But at the moment, just every time they try and walk in, Luca's just finding so much damage.
I've been trying my best, by the way, as Monk picks other frag to show alternative play routes, how double clutch can maybe get into the game. So come on, Dave, disclose your secret information. How can they win this round? What do they need to change?
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe just more committed aggression. We're really struggling to see Alex and Recef aggressive at the same time. You can see, again, Alex walks on the point, there's not too much support, backs up, gets sniped from Funsky. So again, that Demoment's out of there. Mong creates enough of a distraction that Uber does come across the point. A lot of space was made from that single bomb. It's traded out here from double clutch, so they're going to be able to probably walk on the point, get some cap time down, but we're almost in overtime here.
You can definitely tell that he's trying his hardest right now to clutch it in the literal meaning of words, and metaphorically, not only metaphorically, are the players falling down on the side of Moro. However, they get some advantages once again, because 3 players are down on the side of, or were down on the side of double clutch, and those are 2 Plick classes, which means Lit is down. It makes it easy to walk back into this point. It's a dry fight essentially, since no team has any Uber on their face whatsoever. Black falls down, so creating further player advantages among already 2 rockets it takes onto a previously injured Recef, and they have to marshal their forces in together and play tightly in it, as in the result Wata even has an Uber advantage.
Yeah, and just losing place. So much health damage has been done onto every single double clutch player. Buck is trying his best to arrow everyone up, but everyone had taken at least 200 damage there. A big bomb pencil coming in from Mong just is in the air for an age.
Still in this. I wanted... Wow, even the big pipe there from ALX onto Yawn puts him on the contrary into Eternal Slumber. DD, though, falling to all these spawning blue players. It is still a fight, however, Nate falls down. Jenny eats a pipe straight into his forehead, or, well, he gets piped rather. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. And everyone, after a little bit of a hiccup there on Fig, the last round will ring out, and therefore that's a clean sweep on 2 maps.
The big thing to stand out for me is Mong, not only did he get the top frag, not only did he have probably the most impact overall in the game, he also got 420 damage a minute. Perfect for him. Very, very nice. But yeah, just very, very impressive stuff. So you've got Mong, Cannon, Luca, Funsky, all of them doing huge amounts of damage as well. Alex had a much better map this time. Had solid damage. But actually, another thing I've noticed, we talked about how little that combo was dying on that first map. On this map, it was even less. Luca died twice, and Wata only died once. So it was just double clutch really struggling to kill off those important classes. But aside from that, it's good night.